Hello, everybody. This is the Chocolate News Podcast. I'm your co-host, John Alexander Reese.
And I'm your co-host, Andria Carter.
And if you did not know, the Cincinnati Herald has been around since 1955 and is the leading African American owned newspaper in the greater Cincinnati area and northern Kentucky area. How's it going, Andrea?
I'm a little sneezy. I'm doing great. I'm just a little sneezy, getting over some stuff. Just hanging in there. Just, but feeling really, really pumped, energized, excited. Um, I watched the rest of the DNC. I thought the roll call was exciting. Then I saw everything else and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a fun election. So I'm really, really, really excited to see the outcome. It's like a soap opera. You want your popcorn primed, have the butter ready and everything, and then you just
Yeah.
want to sit down and just watch. So I'm looking forward to the debates. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm really, 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 really pumped. But I just want to take a moment and just let everybody know, be careful as you go out and about. I know people are excited about this election and everyone's canvassing and touching hands, handing out literature, meeting and talking with people. Be careful. It is the beginning of cold and flu season and RSV and, believe it or not, COVID-19 season. As one who sounds very nasal right now and has been exposed, take the time, take care of you, have your hand sanitizer, have your masks. Just be careful because you don't know who's got what. And if you got the shot, you know that it'll lessen the effects if you get exposed. Take one who knows. And just be careful and enjoy this time. This is gonna be an exciting fall. We got Labor Day, we got the fireworks coming up and everything. So I just ask everyone, be careful, have fun, and but enjoy life. Okay, that being said.
All right. So what are the chocolate news stories of the week?
Well, the chocolate news stories of the week. First, we have to talk about the Democratic National Committee's wrap up of the convention, which I thought the roll call was unbelievable, and we're still seeing the effects of the roll call, which was out unbelievable. DJ Cassidy was interviewed on MSNBC, and he said they're still getting responses to that roll call. Nobody's ever seen that. He said the DNC called him like over a month ago, back in July, to help um, program 75 minutes of music for the roll call, which was actually 57. It's, well, 52 states plus um, um, territories, U.S. territories, altogether 57 people or groups were involved in the roll call. And he said he collaborated with the DNC and with the states about what song best represent them. And they're still feeling the effects. But anyway, I think overall, we first Tim Walz hit it out of the park as the vice president nominee for the DNC. He comes across as a good guy. I wouldn't be a surprise if he gets a line of flannel shirts in his name. I would not be surprised. I mean, the fact that Barack Obama talked about it at the DNC, and you saw his Tim Walz's wife's reaction, agreeing with him wholeheartedly that yes, that is true, and everyone was laughing at her reaction. I found that amusing. So I can't wait to see the Tim Walz line of flannel shirts. I might even get one. But I think too, Kamala Harris hit it out of the park. She set up her case. She best explained her argument, and then she offered up the evidence about why she would make a better president than Donald Trump or 45. And I think that 45-minute speech knocked it out of the park. And the I would say, in terms of size of who watched that night, the last night of the RNC, It was 28.4 million people. The last
Wow.
night of the DNC was 28.9 million people.
That's really good.
That's really good. And I think it also represents what Republicans don't get, the hunger that people are searching for. The hunger of they want to hear something new. They want to hear someone who's going to take care of them. They're not asking for perfection. They're asking for someone who understands what they're experiencing, understands what they're going through, and is offering up a couple of solutions. Whether they may work or not, they're offering solutions, not doom and gloom, solutions. And I think that's the reason why she's resonating. And I also like the fact that Kamala did not mention once the historical factor or all that type stuff. No, she's for the people. And she laid out her plan and it was heard around the world. And I think everyone, NPR did a very good job of covering, of wrapping up what she said. They 5 takeaway points of her speech was: one, she introduced herself to America. Um, she inverted a lot of the Republican messaging. For instance, party, country, flag, honor, patriotism. Those were all RNC messaging. They're not doing that anymore. They're doing Trump. They took it, which I think is interesting. She's very disciplined. She stayed on point. Um, four, she made a claim to change the mantle and the focus. She's looking at the middle class. She's not looking at the bottom or the top or the middle or the whatever. She's looking at the middle class who helped build and support the country, who keeps it making it great, which is us, quote, little people, you and me and everybody else. The ones who are living paycheck to paycheck, trying
Yeah.
to make ends meet, looking for that side hustle so they can at least go out and enjoy a beer every once in a while or go to a movie or hear some good music at a club sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think the Democrats walked away thrilled, energized. It's still a very close race, but there's impact, there's credibility. And you don't see scandal, you don't see conviction, and you're not indicted again.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
which Donald Trump just got it. I mean, he just got indicted again.
Yeah.
Same charges, but they changed the evidence per se. Well, I shouldn't say change the evidence. Let me rephrase that. They changed the focus of the indictment from overarching, from a presidential standpoint, to just candidate Trump.
Oh.
And as candidate Trump, he did this, 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 and this. He might have used the office that he had, but as candidate Trump, he tried to influence and change the outcome of the 2020 election so he could stay in power, which I think is brilliant, really, truly. So there's the RNC. They're scrambling. They had no plan B. They don't know what to do with Kamala. They're trying all kinds of crazy stuff. And everyone is trying to say, well, no, she's not doing this and she's talking this. And you have a candidate saying that she's AI generating her crowd sizes and everything else. And no, this is what popularity looks like.
Yeah.
Just because you had it doesn't mean you get to keep it. And it's not just you. And I think also what's interesting are all the articles now that people are writing about the Divine Nine, which I think is interesting. Um, you know, it seems that people are rediscovering the Black sororities and the both female and males fraternities and sororities, what that means, what the Panhellenic Council is, why the graduate chapters are huge, why Kamala went and spoke before the AKAs and the Sigmas. And wait a minute, she spoke before AKAs, the Sigmas. Well, no, she spoke as vice VP candidate to the AKAs, which she is a member of the sorority. But she spoke as presidential candidate before the Sigmas and the Zetas, because of the change, um, which all of them are committed to elevating the education of our community. All are committed to providing scholarships to help out young people who want to further their education or trade. Um, but also they all have a social justice component to what their membership does. They want to better the community and make sure everyone is registered to vote. And I can say that I'm a very proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, but I know the hard work that the women do to make sure our young women are trained as leaders, that we are trained as financial handlers, um, program management, social justice, making sure that even though we don't do anything political, we just want to make sure everyone is registered to vote. Vote for who you want, but make sure your voice is heard because every vote counts. And I think that's the bare bones of what they do. Besides, have a good time, be a good sister to everybody, and blah blah blah. So there's that.
Right.
Um, Coming off that high, I was a little sad to learn, if you all did not watch Sunday night, the 11 p.m. broadcast on WLWT Channel 5, Courtis Fuller, who has been the longtime weekend anchor, signed off. He's still going to be with Channel 5, but he's going to just do the community service show. Um, what is the name of that show? Let's
Um,
Talk Sensi.
oh, right. Let's talk
He's gonna
Cincy.
he's gonna be the main one doing Let's Talk Sensi. He's hosted the show since it debuted in 2019. And so he's going to be concentrating on that community service component. He's always been about community service. And but it's kind of sad. I knew I knew Courtis when he first came to Cincinnati. And I've been in my former life as a full-time journalist, and I've worked for a number of newspapers both in and out of Cincinnati. Um, I knew Courtis when I worked for the Cincinnati Herald the first time, and Courtis came into town and started working with Channel 5. And I've seen him grow and change and all kinds of stuff. And he has always been the consummate professional. He's always tried to do his best for the community of Cincinnati. And he has he's been a huge fixture within the community, and he's always been a great guy. I know my mother, before she passed, loved seeing Courtis, loved talking to him. She's had him over for dinner a couple times.
Oh,
He,
wow.
yes, she, she just, in fact, Courtis, when my mother was ill, he went to see her
Wow.
one time in the health facility, and she was so over. She couldn't talk or move, but she almost jumped out of the bed that Courtis came to see her. She was so overjoyed to see him, and that's the type of guy he was. I should say is. And so congratulations, Courtis, on your retirement. I hope you continue to do a let's talk Sensi, and I look forward to seeing more of you. So well done, my friend. Well done.
Yes, definitely.
Um, an interesting thing that's going on right now, um, early voting starts October 8th. And I hope everyone is taking a look at who's running for reelection or for a new position or what issue is going to be on the ballot in November. And one issue that is the wording is going to be very confusing is, I think it's issue 1 on the ballot. Don't quote me on this, but I know it's an issue on the ballot, and it's about changing who was representing Ohio on the gerrymandering coalition or commission. that helps make up the maps for the state of Ohio, both the state map and the congressional map. And they're trying to take the politicians out off the commission. And Governor DeWine has even offered up right now to change the look of the commission right now, to take the politicians off, because he recognizes if this passes, the control the Republican Party had in holding the map it won't be there anymore, or at least there'll be an impact to make it a little bit more fair. Um, there's that potential, because the Republicans control the state of Ohio, and right now voters are the lawmakers are sort of changing the language of the initiative, making it very confusing for people who are going to be voting on this. And so it's kind of like there's a little fight going on about what language is being used to make it pass, what language is being used to make it not pass. And it's kind of sad that this is
Yeah.
going on. So, be careful. The Citizens Not Politicians ballot initiative, that it was called, they're out in full force canvassing around the state of Ohio to make sure it passes, because they're tired of the scandal. They're tired of the one philosophy controlling everything. And it's not fair for the voters not being able to vote for who they want representing them. So just be careful, as the ballot language gets fixed. We'll definitely bring it back up for to let you know how it's going to read. But it is issue one, and it will be on the ballot. So just be aware of that. But if you want to see change in terms of who represents you in the state of Ohio, and have a more diverse, I guess diverse is not a good word, but a more, well, no, diverse is a good word, whether
Yeah.
it's Democrat, Republican, liberal, libertarian, or who have you, to be elected to an office instead of one party system, then you want to pay attention to this issue.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see what happens. Um, you know how I like interesting things that pop up every once in a while. So this came across my, I get tons of notifications on my phone. I'm such a news junkie, and I like the unusual. Well, this is something from across the pond in England. Erlwin, er, Erl, Erlwin, Errollyn, Erlwin Wallen has been made the master of the king's music. She is the
Oh,
first Black woman to hold this position. Now, this position really has no responsibilities other
right.
than write a couple of songs a year for the king's music for a special event or something. But there's never been a Black person appointed to this position before. And Elwyn Wallen, is a Belize-born British musician who has composed music for the London 2012 Paralympic Games. She's the first Black woman to have worked featured in what's called the Proms. She's thrilled by this royal appointment. Um, she has done some music for Queen Elizabeth during her Diamond Jubilee, but she never held an official position appointed by the king or queen until now. So this
Oh,
is, since I'm a member of the Multicultural Awareness Council for the Cincinnati Symphony, I try to see what's going on in the classical music world, so to speak. And I saw this pop up, and I thought it would be interesting to mention it to people about what's going on across the pond, and someone who's making inroads in the classical music space, but at a high level with King Charles. So I thought it was an interesting little piece of news, little
oh,
pieces,
it's
which
very
is really,
interesting.
isn't that interesting? I
Yeah.
mean, as much as England has a lot going for them, you see strides in different ways, and so I thought this was unique. Um, It's very, very, very interesting. Another unique item that has occurred within the last week is I don't know if everyone is familiar with Grambling State University. I think more sports mad people are familiar with Grambling because they used to have a wonderful basketball coach at Grambling. He had been there a long time. He was a very, I think he was one of the most winningest coaches ever. They have a great football team as well. Our own county commissioner, Alicia Reese, is a graduate of Grambling State University, and it is an HBCU. Well, they made history this week as they are the only institution in Louisiana that has built a digital library.
Really?
Yes, and they just unveiled it early August. This digital library, it's the digital library and learning commons it's being called. It is a 50,000 square foot facility designed to support all aspects of learning with more than 150 computer stations, 17,000 square foot of study space and multi-purpose space for events, meetings, seminars. It is the ultimate intersection of academics, curiosity, and community. And this just came online earlier this month. And they are, it is basically, it was built um, kind of like I should say that it was a historic moment for Grambling um, because they originally inaugurated the opening of the old A.C. Lewis Memorial Library in 1962 that had an addition built in 1986. Well, this new digital library replaces that.
Oh,
And it was a $16.6 million library. Tell you
wow.
how serious it was, which, that's serious money.
Yeah.
But I think that, for an HBCU, and you're finding that around the country, people are starting to discover the learning centers the HBCUs are for whatever niche that they may have. Um, for instance, at Central State, their water program is very international, and people go there because they do a lot of research on water and agriculture and other things. So every HBCU has a niche, and because of that niche, they are becoming power centers within that world. And for Grambling State, I think it's going to be digital learning. So well done, Grambling, well done. And last but not least, talk about reaching back to the past to improve the future. Beyonce. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what has Beyonce done now?
Exactly.
Well, her great grandfather was a moonshiner,
Oh,
and so they had a little hand in the liquor business.
yeah.
And she's decided to step her little toe into the spirit industry. So, in a partnership with, I know I'm going to butcher this, Moet Hennessy or Moet Hennessy, she has created the whiskey called Sir Davis in honor of her moonshiner great grandfather. Now, this whiskey um, is a it's her launch into American whiskey, but it's a take on Japanese whiskey, which
Hmm.
is different.
Hmm.
So it is because, as you all know, to give everyone a quick history lesson, the only whiskey that can be called bourbon is only that the spirits that are made in Kentucky can only be known as bourbon.
Really?
Everyone, yes, anyone outside of Kentucky using a similar process has to be called whiskey. And there's different all kinds of whiskey. There's Scottish whiskey. There's which my father drinks J and B. There's McCallum's, which is very very nice and smooth, very high end. There's Japanese whiskey. Now everyone, everyone thinks sake, but sake is not whiskey. Sake is something different, which that's a whole nother issue. Warm or cold is very, very good. But I have not tried Beyonce's whiskey yet, but it should be on the shelf sometime this fall. It's going to be a high end whiskey, about probably between $60 and $89 a bottle. But she decided that she wanted to, jump into the whiskey business and reflect, what she likes about whiskey. And I think she loves Japanese whiskey. That's the reason why she's sort of is known along Japanese whiskey. Um, her, sort of taking advantage of her paternal great grandfather, Davis Hogue. He was a farmer and a moonshiner in the American South during Prohibition. Um, he stashed whiskey bottles in the empty knots of cedar trees for friends and kin to find and enjoy, which was moonshine. And because of that, she decided to do something a little different. And so we're going to see, I can't wait to taste it,
Yeah.
see how is it going to be different from everything else that's on the shelf. But again, she said the techniques, even though they use the traditional techniques and they have arrived at an elegant mouth feel and texture, is based upon Japanese and Scotch whiskeys, which is unique. I mean, I bring out my Macallan's when I want to celebrate something, and that's a smooth whiskey. In fact, my Macallan's, I have the which one is it? 12. I have the 12-year aged Macallan's whiskey on my bourbon shelf. But Macallan's can go up to 12, 15, and 20. And the higher up the year of aging, the more expensive it gets. I was lucky that I got the 12.
Hmm.
But so it's gonna be interesting to see what she does and what it tastes like. So eventually, when I do get a bottle of Sir Davis, I'll let y'all know what I think. So,
Okay. All
and
right.
that is all the chocolate news for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrea. And that's it for today's show, folks. I want to thank Andrea again for all the good chocolate news. Thank you, Andrea.
Oh, my pleasure.
And you can find more information about today's topics and past podcast episodes at www.cincinnatiherald.com, the Sesh newsletter, or in our social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Threads. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast app. You can listen to us on Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm John Alexander Reese,
And I'm Andrea Carter.
and have a good day.